Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. South Africa's president says travel bans enacted against his country and its neighbours over the new coronavirus variant need to end.
This is a clear and completely unjustified departure from the commitment that many of these countries made at the meeting of the G20.
Cyril Ramaphosa said he was deeply disappointed by the action, which he described as unjustified, and called for the bans to be urgently lifted. The UK, EU and US are among those who have imposed travel bans. Omicron has been classed as a variant of concern. Early evidence suggests it has a higher reinfection risk. The Honduran opposition candidate Xiomara Castro has a commanding lead in the country's presidential election.
Revertimos el autoritarismo y revertimos el continuismo.
With half of the votes counted, the left-wing candidate is ahead of the governing party's Nasri Asfoura by almost 20 percentage points. However, Mr. Asfoura has not yet conceded defeat. If she wins, Ms. Castro will become the first female president of the Central American nation. The Philippines has launched an ambitious drive to vaccinate 9 million people against COVID-19 in just 3 days.
This is our single biggest push to fast-track vaccination and reach target.
President Rodrigo Duterte opened a ceremonial mass vaccination event in Rizal province, east of Manila, as part of the ambitious program. Though the earlier target of 15 million shots was scaled back, 9 million would still be a significant number for a nation where logistics and vaccine hesitancy are hurdles. India's lower house of parliament has passed a bill in New Delhi to repeal 3 controversial farming laws. It is seen as a step to victory for farmers who have been protesting against the legislation for more than a year. Lawmakers in the Indian capital thumped tables with their hands as the Speaker of the lower house of parliament, which was tabled by India's agricultural minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi bowed to protesters' demands on November the 19th to repeal the controversial laws which were introduced in September of last year. Carmaker Nissan has announced it will spend $17.5 billion over 5 years to accelerate its production of electric cars. It says it wants to catch up with the competitors in one of the fastest growing areas for car makers. Nissan will be spending twice as much as it did in the previous decade for a share of the EV market as rivals, including Toyota and newer entrants such as Tesla, move ahead with their electric car plans. Nissan said it will launch 23 electrified vehicles by 2030. Several new vents have formed in the base of the volcano in La Palma Island. It means new lava fountains and flows are now threatening more homes in the northeastern part of the island as the eruption enters its 10th week. Huge clouds of smoke continue to billow into the sky. The lava stream has so far engulfed 1,151 hectares of land, and the eruption has damaged or destroyed nearly 2,700 buildings. Heavy rains have flooded streets in the Basque city of Bilbao in northern Spain. The Nervion and Cadagao rivers in northern Spain have burst their banks, flooding streets in towns alongside the bank. Dozens of cars were stranded in floodwaters. Bilbao's mayor says firefighters have been called out dozens of times overnight as the storm knocked down trees, flooded streets and produced mudslides. Authorities have asked residents to stay away from the area. Britain's Prince Charles has arrived in Barbados as the Caribbean nation prepares for a celebration marking the founding of a republic. It will mean the removal of the Queen as sovereign, cutting imperial ties some 400 years after English ships first arrived. Barbados won independence from Britain in 1966, but has retained Queen Elizabeth as its official sovereign. She will be replaced with a Barbadian president in an inauguration ceremony to be held when the country celebrates independence on Tuesday. And finally, thousands of monkeys in central Thailand have feasted on 2 tons of fruits and vegetables after the town's monkey festival resumed following a 2-year hiatus. Hundreds of the animals, also known as long-tailed monkeys, were seen climbing on people and stacks of fruit while munching away on bananas and pineapples. The feast, which costs over $3,000, is an annual tradition for locals to thank the monkeys for doing their part in drawing in tourists to the area. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.